and today I am making my own birthday cake. My birthday is tomorrow and I am the grand old age of 26, which is a bit scary because I'm getting closer and closer to 30. But I make my birthday cakes every year because I know how I like them and I get to try new flavours and different combinations, so I just make my own birthday cake every year. So originally I was just going to do a Biscoff cake, just a Biscoff cake. I mean, Biscoff cakes are amazing. But then I thought, why not make it a bit bigger, a bit more extra? So I'm going to do a 2-tier cake. The bottom is going to be Biscoff cake and the top is going to be Oreo cake, which are my two favourite flavours. So, ingredients, I weighed 6 large eggs and it came to 690 grams? 390 grams, that would be a lot. 390 grams, so I've got 390 grams of self-raising flour, I've got 390 grams of light brown soft sugar. I've actually substituted all of the caster sugar for light brown soft sugar because light brown soft sugar will give a really caramelised flavour to the sponge, and Biscoff is basically caramelised biscuits, so it will work really well. I've also got 390 take away 25, what's that? 390, 385, 365, is that right? 365 grams of soft butter, and I weighed it 390, but I've substituted 25 grams because I've also got some Biscoff spread, which is quite oily, so I don't want it to create a greasy sponge. And I have got 3 tablespoons of Biscoff spread and I've mixed it in with 6 tablespoons of milk. The reason why I've mixed it in is just so it's a bit easier to fold into the mixture because the Biscoff spread is quite stiff, so this will make it really easy to fold in. I've also got 3 8-inch cake tins, which I have greased, lined and floured, and of course my trusty crook mixer. So let's get baking. As always, I'm going to use the creaming method. So I'm going to add, I've not got my paddle on again. Why do I make this mistake so often? I always forget to attach the paddle. I spent like an hour making the kitchen tidy, cleaning up, getting my camera set up properly, and every single time I forget the paddle. Anyway, I'm going to add in the butter, all of the sugar, which smells so nice. I love brown sugar. And I'm going to cream that together for about 5 minutes until it is pale and fluffy. Okay, so that is the mixture combined. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Looks like this. It smells really, really nice. The next thing we're going to add in is the eggs. As I said, I've got 6 eggs and I'm going to add them in 2 at a time, mixing for about 30 seconds between each one so they're fully incorporated. So the eggs mixed in, and I'm just going to make sure I've got everything scraped around the edge and off the bottom. And now it's time to add the Biscoff and milk. I want to get as much out of the bowl as I can because I do not want to waste any Biscoff. And then mix that on a low speed until it's just combined. And lastly, it is time to fold in the flour. Take the attachment off. I can tell that I've still got some flour at the bottom, but I don't want to over mix it, so I'm just going to scrape everything off the paddle and then mix it by hand. And that is the batter done, and it smells so good. I could just eat it now, but I'm going to hold off because I don't want to get any salmonella. But that is the batter complete. It honestly smells amazing. So now I'm going to divide it between 3 tins. So that's the mixture divided between the tins and levelled out. So now it's time to bake. I've got my oven on 160 degrees Celsius, and that's for a fan assisted oven. And I'm going to bake them for 25 minutes, and you can check that they're done by sticking a skewer through them and it comes out clean. So the cakes are out of the oven now. They look so good and they smell amazing, and I just want to eat them now, but it's my birthday tomorrow, not today, so I have to wait. So I'm going to let them cool for about 5 minutes in the tin, and then I'm going to turn them out onto a baking tray, a cooling rack, and then we'll get on with making the Oreo sponge. So now I'm going to get on with the chocolate Oreo cake. So I'm actually going to do a chocolate fudge cake for this, and then I'm going to sandwich it in between Oreo buttercream and crunched up Oreo biscuits. So it's going to taste amazing. Now, I must admit I messed up a bit here. When I weighed out all my ingredients, I was doing a bit of singing and dancing to Disney songs, and I got a bit happy when I was putting everything in bowls, and I've mixed everything up. So I'm trying to separate stuff as much as I can. I will list the ingredients in the description box because there are quite a lot of them and I won't remember them all. So the first thing you want to do is have your cocoa powder, light brown sugar in one bowl, and then 150 ml of hot water. And we're just going to mix that together until it is all combined. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to cool in the background, and we're going to get on with the rest of the cake. So it's pretty similar to any other sponge. We're going to cream together our butter and sugar, and it would just be white sugar in here, but obviously I have messed up, so I've got a bit of brown in here as well. And cream that together for about 5 minutes. Next we're going to add the eggs, one at a time, beating for about 30 seconds in between each one. And then we are going to add in the flour. This is plain flour, and I've also got a teaspoon of baking powder in as well. And we're going to fold it together. And yours shouldn't look chocolatey, yours should look white. Oh dear. But it should look pretty cake batterish in texture. Okay, so it's everything folded in nicely now. I'm going to pop it back on the stand. I've got a chocolate mixture here, and I've also got some whole milk and vanilla. And we're going to fold this in gently. So I'm going to put this just on speed 1, and then we're going to slowly mix it in. I'm going to add in our milk as well. And that is done. So it's a really wet mixture, and that's going to give us the fudginess. I'm going to take that off. Oh, I've got chocolate going all over me. I suppose that's not a bad thing. And then I've got 2 6-inch cake tins here. I'm going to divide the mixture between them, and then we're going to bake them at 160 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. And the key to getting a fudgy chocolate sponge is you want to take it out a couple of minutes before it should be done. Okay, so it's the chocolate cakes out of the oven now. They did take about 10 minutes extra. I think that's because the mixture is so deep. If you were going to do a 7-inch or 8-inch tin, then they'll take a lot less time, obviously. So I'm going to let them cool almost completely in the tins, and then we'll start making the buttercream and all the decorations. So the Biscoff cakes are cool now, and the chocolate cakes are cooling. So now I'm going to make the buttercream. So I've got 600 grams of softened butter here. This is unsalted real butter. And I've got 1200 grams, yes, 1.2 kilograms of icing sugar, which I've sifted. So we are going to beat the butter for a good 5 minutes on a medium to high speed until it is silky smooth, and it would have turned quite pale as well. I am going to add in the icing sugar in 2 stages, and I know this is going to go all over my kitchen as soon as I start pouring it in. Yeah. The joys of icing sugar. See, big cloud. Anyway, I'm going to mix that for about 3 minutes. Make sure you start it off really slow. Just scrape around the edges. Time for the second lot. And lastly, I'm going to add milk in. I've got 5 tablespoons here of whole milk. I'm going to put that in one go and just mix it on a low speed until it's all combined. And that is the base of buttercream done. Very, very simple. So now it's time to flavour it. Oh god, that's a lot heavier than I thought it was. Okay, so for the Oreo, I'm going to put some biscuits into, oh, I can never get this lid off. Oh, there we go. Into a food processor. I don't know, maybe like half a pack. Let's go with half a pack to start with. Always add more. And I'm going to whisk these up. There we go. So I just want a really, really fine crumb. I'm trying to get the lid off again. Pop this into the buttercream mixture. And then mix it in. Just like that. Yummy! Oh, I can't wait to make this cake. And then for the Biscoff, I'm basically just going to add loads and loads of Biscoff. So maybe like 3 tablespoons, big tablespoons. Give it a good mix until it's all combined. Give it a little taste test, see what you think. Definitely more Biscoff. Another tablespoon. And we go again. Give it another taste test with a clean spoon because you don't want your saliva going in there. Perfect. So 4 tablespoons. So that's all of the buttercream ready now. So I'm going to clear this all away and then we'll start on our Biscoff layer. Now for the decorating, so I've got a cake board here. I've got a thick one because it is a 2-tier cake, so it's going to be heavy. And I've put that on a turntable. So I'm going to get some of my Biscoff buttercream and pop it in the centre, and that'll act as a glue. So we're going to get our first layer. I did actually have a little accident with the knife. I didn't hurt myself or anything, I mean the cake. So I've cut a bit of a chunk out. But it's fine, we'll patch it with buttercream. So I'm going to press that in, get a big dollop of your Biscoff buttercream. Spread that around with a palette knife. Smooth it out. Wipe off the excess. And then grab your next layer. And for the last layer, I'm going to turn it upside down so I get a nice clean edge. Make sure that's central too. And I'm just going to smooth around the sides and fill in the gaps. Then another big bit of buttercream. Chuck it on there. I'm going to smooth it at the top. I'm just going to make sure my cake is central. Yep. So I'm going to push it into the cake. And this is the crumb coat. And the crumb coat is all, it says it on the label. It just locks in all of your crumbs into the cake. So this is just a thin layer of buttercream, and it doesn't need to be neat, it doesn't need to be perfect. So I'm going to really work that into the cake and then go around the outside. Got my cake scraper here, so I'm just going to pop it on the edge, make sure it's flat and scrape the excess off. That is your crumb coat done. Super, super easy. So I'm going to whack that in the fridge for about half an hour to set, and then we'll put the final layers on. That's had 30 minutes in the fridge. It's firm to touch, so now it's time for our second and final layer of buttercream. And to smooth this, I'm actually going to use a Pro Froster, which is this tool here, and it just helps to give really sharp edges. Just take a bit of practice to get used to. but it is definitely worth it. So we're going to do exactly the same. Big dollop on top and work it in with the palette knife and spread it down the edges. So you want to lay your Pro Froster at the side flat, and you want to keep it in place, if that makes sense, and move your turntable. So you keep it in place and move your turntable, and then scrape off the excess. And it's fine to go in this bowl because you shouldn't have any crumbs in there. So it is taking the top off, but it's fine because I'll go over that. Just shows how uneven my cake was. So pop this in the fridge first and then we'll get on with the rest. Whilst the Biscoff cake is chilling in the fridge, I'm going to make the chocolate ganache, which is going to be our filling for our chocolate cake as well as the drip down it as well. So I've got 150ml of dark chocolate here and 150ml of double cream, and I'm going to mix it. I'm going to put it in the microwave, mixing every 10 seconds. It will probably take about 20-30 seconds to do completely, but you want to do it slowly so the chocolate doesn't burn. Put you a little bit closer to show you what I'm doing here. So I've got 2 cake boards. I've got one the size of my cake and just a random one. This was the only other one that I had that wasn't absolutely massive. It doesn't need to be this big. So I'm going to stick this down with a little bit of ganache, but not much because I need to get it off later. Just stick it down. Oh, by the way, our ganache is done. Forgot to say that bit. I'm going to put some on here like a glue. Get my first layer. It's so fudgy in the middle. And we're going to pop this on in the centre of that top cake board. Then we're going to get some chocolate ganache. Spread it around a little bit. Now it's okay if it runs down the sides, not an issue. And I'm going to get some Oreos. And crush them up to put in the centre. I'm going to put a tiny bit more ganache on the top, just so the top there has got something to stick to. Just cover the Oreos slightly, doesn't need to be neat. Then grab your second layer, and as always, pop it upside down. I'm going to centre it. I'm just going to smooth this around the edge. And for your first layer of buttercream, it doesn't really matter if you've got chocolate in it, whatever, because it is our crumb coat. So it really doesn't make a difference. Now, it's going to be more slippy than if you filled it with just normal buttercream because it's got ganache in. But again, you want to work it on top, and this is going to be harder to do because it's got crumbs in, but as always, it doesn't have to be neat. And start working it around the edge. Then we're going to grab a scraper and scrape around the edge. Then we're going to pop that in the fridge for a good 30 minutes, probably 30 to 40 minutes, because we want to make sure that that ganache is locked in there so it doesn't spill onto our outer layer. Okay, so that is the first layer out of the fridge now. I'm just going to put a bit more buttercream on, and this is the final layer. So we just do exactly the same thing. we're going to put that in the fridge for another 30 minutes. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is dowel the cake up. Now dowels will support the top layer and they're basically just sticks. I use these Asda cake pop sticks. They're really solid actually. They're just made out of cardboard. And we're going to pop them in the cake. I'm going to use 5 and then we're going to cut them down to size. So I'm going to start off with the middle. And then you just want to make a little mark of where the top of the cake is, just like so. And then we're going to cut it down to size. You can do it with scissors, a knife, whatever is easiest for you, but they do take a bit of work to get through them. But that's good because it means that it's going to hold your cake up. Okay, so one common mistake that people make with dowels is that they put all of them in and then they measure them at that point. So I'd put one there, for example, one there, one there, one there, and then I'd measure them all. If the top of your cake is wonky, it means that the top tier of your cake is also going to be wonky. So you actually want to measure all of your cake dowels the same length, and that will mean that your top tier will be straight. And then we just cut them all. Okay, so one right in the centre and then just 4 around it. So I've got some Biscoff biscuits and I'm just going to put them at the bottom. So I'm going to do, put it this way so you can see. I'm going to do a big one, press it in, and I'm going to snap one in half. Then once the other cake is done, we're going to pop that on top and then decorate everything. Okay, now it's time to stack the cakes, which is the scariest part of all of this. So I am going to get a tiny bit of buttercream, put some blobs around it just so the base has got something to stick to. Then you need to get your cake off the board, so I'm using a palette knife, sticking it underneath and working it towards the edge of the other board. Pick it up and then you sort of want to drop. So you want to find as central as possible and then just sort of let go. It's just like that really, and if you need to move it you can, don't worry because you can patch anything up. So just take it from the bottom and just move it slightly. Just like that, and then at the bottom you can just go around the edge, or you can put some buttercream on there or whatever. But I can breathe now because they are stacked up. I'm going to put some Oreos on the top like I have the Biscoff, so I'm just going to do a big one, then a half one. Okay, so it's both the chocolate and the Biscoff melted. The Biscoff is still a bit warm, so I'm going to start with the chocolate, and I'm just going to get a spoon and just work it towards the edge until it drips off. Now it's time for the Biscoff drip. Okay, then I've got the rest of my buttercream in a piping bag, and I'm just going to alternate between Biscoff and Oreo. Finally, top it with alternating biscuits. And that is my Oreo Biscoff cake complete. And I cannot wait to eat it, but I can't do a taste test until tomorrow because I can't eat my cake when it's not my birthday. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, bye!